One's ready. One's ready. Go!
Everybody, welcome back to the One's Ready podcast. This is your daily drop for the 9th of June. Yes, here we go. We have one slot remaining in the Operator Training Summit that's 21 and 22 June in San Diego. If you are looking for a 2-day event to get your mind right, to work on efficiencies, to be around a bunch of like-minded people that are trying to get after the same exact thing you are, you're going to be camping with them, you're going to be bonding with them, you're going to be in the suck with them. However, to be clear, this is a instructorship and mentorship type of event. It is not a hell week. It is not a smoke session. We don't do that kind of stuff, right? This is getting you better in the pool, getting you better with running. We've got Taylor Starch, who is the mad scientist when it comes to running, long cardio, mobility, and all that kind of stuff. And then you're going to have Aaron, Trent, and I, and then another active duty PJ out there just crushing it for you. All right, here's the joint news. Northcom establishes LA Task Force. U.S. Northern Command activated Task Force 51 to oversee military deployments to Los Angeles County, California, including 2,000 Army National Guardsmen, with 300 from the 79th Infantry Brigade Combat Team. The task force coordinates Title 10 forces with 500 Marines on standby following a White House announcement on National Guard deployments. Dude, I'll tell you, there was some wild stuff that I was watching. There were so many YouTubers out there live streaming, and some of the things that I saw were, some of it was benign, but there was this one where, and it was like 13,000 people watching this stream as well. And this lady spoke her mind, gave her opinion, and then was surrounded by a group of people. And this lady, you could tell she was scared, but she was definitely in a fight or flight kind of situation. But it was crazy to me to see that nobody would step in to actually have a sane mind and go, hey, when you got 50 dudes around a woman and threatening her and cornering her, like, that's not a good thing. And then somebody came and smacked into her with a bicycle. Obviously, it was intentional. Like, it was just not great to see. All right, next, Newsom challenges federalization of California National Guard. California Governor Gavin Newsom requested the White House return control of the California National Guard, calling its federalization unlawful and a breach of state sovereignty. The White House defended a deployment as necessary to restore law and order amid clashes between ICE agents and protesters. Next, the Pentagon investigates Hexas signal messages. We're talking about this again. The Defense Department Inspector General is examining whether aides to the Defense Secretary were instructed to delete signal messages containing sensitive military information. Hexas denies sharing classified data, but the issue is expected to be raised during his upcoming congressional testimony. Pentagon's role in UFO disinformation. Talking about UFOs now. All right. An investigation revealed the Defense Department contributed to UFO conspiracy theories since the 1950s, using disinformation to obscure classified programs. Some modern UAP sightings are attributed to Starlink satellite reflections, though certain reports remain under investigation. I don't know how many of those are reflections from Starlink. That seems a bit, it's a bit suspect right there. Especially when in Vegas we got 10-foot aliens landing in people's backyards. Air Force news. Air Force prepares for nuclear expansion post-New START. The Air Force is ready to deploy additional nuclear warheads if directed after the new START. I'm not that acronym stands for. The treaty expires in February with sufficient capability and capacity, according to the Air Force Global Strike Command's commander. The command may also require more B-21 Raiders than the planned 100 to meet future needs. New experimental operations unit for CCAs. The 53rd Wing at Nellis Air Force Base activated the experimental operations unit to advance the collaborative combat aircraft program through simulations and testing. The unit aims to enhance innovation and deliver agile, lethal capabilities to warfighters more quickly. Good. U.S. and Norway test networked weapons. In a first, Norwegian forces took control of a U.S. GBU-53 bomb dropped by an Air Force F-15. And oh man, I can't talk today. Jeez, you could definitely tell it's a Monday. Norwegian forces took control of a U.S. GBU-53 bomb dropped by an Air Force F-15E Strike Eagle, showcasing deep integration and trust between allies. The test highlights future warfighter concepts, with other NATO allies expressing interest in networked weapon capabilities. If you guys don't know what networked weapons are, essentially you can drop it from an aircraft, or maybe even if it's a network-enabled Tomahawk or something like that, and it can be flying, and then another aircraft or maybe even a ground personnel can actually take control of that and guide it to where it needs to go. And I don't mean like real-time guidance. I'm talking about like, no kidding, dropping points and going, boom, that's where your target is. So it's a pretty awesome capability that we haven't necessarily had in the past, but you've got to be part of a tactical data link network in order to control that. So next, Beale Air Force Base transitions to CCA mission. Beale Air Force Base is shifting from U-2 reconnaissance to a collaborative combat aircraft mission, maintaining combat relevance with a focus on power projection. The base displayed CCA models at a recent air show and will host the Air Force's first aircraft readiness unit. Sweet. I'm looking forward to seeing what these things are capable of. I hope they're not a disappointment. Dyess Air Force Base marks 40 years of B-1B Lancer. Airmen at Dyess Air Force Base celebrated the 40th anniversary of the B-1B Lancer, praising its unmatched versatility and firepower. The aircraft continues to demonstrate global reach and support for allies, reinforcing U.S. air power dominance. Man, I'll tell you what, I freaking love the B-1. They have delivered so much ordnance for me over the years, and I have worked countless hours with those guys, downrange and stateside. So, man, thanks for doing what you guys do. Next, World War II airmen's remains identified. The remains of Tech Sergeant Clarence E. Gibbs, a World War II airman from Charlotte, North Carolina, were identified 81 years, after he went missing during a B-17 mission over Germany. Gibbs, who earned the Air Medal, will be interned in Clinton, South Carolina. Rock on, man. Thanks for doing what you did. All right, Space Force news. Guardian astronaut reflects on space missions. Space Force Colonel Nick Hague described the Space Force's space domain awareness as an umbrella of protection critical for launches and space station operations. His astronaut career included DNA sequencing and stem cell research in orbit. Oof. I'd like some stem cell treatment like now here on Earth. But yeah, okay, awesome. Next, Space Force officer removed amid trans ban. Space Force Colonel Brie Fram, I don't know what his real name is, was placed on administrative leave pending separation due to the Defense Department's transgender service member ban. Fram, an advocate for transgender troops, served as a division chief at the Pentagon. Bye, Felicia. Next, efforts to diversify launch providers. The Space Force and NASA are seeking alternatives to SpaceX for space launches amid tensions between President Trump and Elon Musk. The National Security Space Launch Program supports startups, but United Launch Alliance faces scrutiny for accountability and issues. There is literally no one else on the planet Earth that is doing what Elon Musk and SpaceX can do. So why? Because two dickheads tend to disagree about something or have intentions that you then start canceling SpaceX contracts or start looking elsewhere. I'm okay with us looking elsewhere to other things, right? But that doesn't mean like, oh, I'm taking my ball and going home because I don't like the guy who runs SpaceX. So like, come on, get the fuck over yourself. Of interest, need to protect Indo-Pacific bases from drones. A RAND Corporation report urges the Air Force to strengthen Indo-Pacific base defenses against small drones, drawing lessons from the Russia-Ukraine war. It recommended cost-benefit analysis it recommends cost-benefit analysis for tailored active defense systems, noting China's potential to lead in drone swarm technology. 100% that's going to happen. And I don't think that issue is just in Indo-Pacific. I think it also takes place in Europe and here. That is no joke. All right. That is it for the news. This is your daily drop. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We appreciate you joining us. Later.